It's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world. So, due to the fact that we've been talking about Madeleine McCann quite a lot recently because of the trial going on with Julia Wendelt and Karen Sprague. Julia, the Polish Maddie or the fake Maddie, who has now been proven, has now been proven definitively not to be Madeleine by a DNA test. It made me think, where does this leave this other sort of red herring in this case? Christian B, of course, who was recently released from prison. So much suspicion cast on him from the German detectives, literally have come out and said they think that Christian B is responsible for not only kidnapping Madeleine, but murdering her. But he hasn't been charged and they've produced no evidence. They say they've got evidence, but not enough to convict. But surely you're not allowed to say that. You cannot say, especially being law enforcement, to just announce that somebody is a killer. But, oh no, I haven't got enough evidence, but he's definitely a killer. It does seem unfair. And, you know, it's difficult to feel sympathy for Christian B because he's definitely not a very nice person. But that doesn't mean to say that he kidnapped Madeleine. And now, just made me think of him this morning. So I did a little bit, I've just had a look. I found a good article on Sky News that we're going to look at about what life has been like for Christian since he was actually released from prison. He feels like he's still in prison because everybody knows who he is. You know, it's ridiculous, isn't it? They call him Christian B because they're not supposed to give out his full name, but everybody knows it's Christian Bruckner. Everybody's seen his face. It's been plastered everywhere. So how can he possibly be free while that German detective is stating obviously and clearly and publicly that Christian Bruckner is the one who abducted and killed Madeleine? So, and now where does this decision or this DNA result and this court case that's going on in the UK against Julia, and now Julia has been proven definitively. I think most of us sane people knew that she wasn't Madeleine McCann, but now it's been announced that a DNA test was made when she was arrested, and it has been proven definitively that she is not Madeleine McCann. So where does that leave Christian? Is it all, you know, once this trial's over and Julia's either deported back to Poland or exonerated, or will she be found guilty? Will she be found innocent? And if she's found guilty, I do believe now under the laws in the UK now, if you're convicted of a crime, you get deported back to your own country if you're not from the UK. I don't know. So I do feel that Julia's going to face jail time somewhere. But where does this leave Christian? And more importantly, where does it leave this case of Madeleine McCann? You know, is this all a detraction, all this trial and everything? Is this money that could have been spent maybe looking for Madeleine or other missing children? You know, of course, Madeleine is not the only missing child, unfortunately, in the world. But she has probably had more attention than most. So yeah, that's what we're going to look at in this video. We're just going to have a look to see what has Christian B been up to since he was released from prison. What does he say about it all? What you think about it all? What do you think? Do you think Christian B has been badly treated, or do you think he deserves everything he gets? Or maybe you believe, like the German policeman, that he is guilty. that's what we're going to chat about in this video. So first of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for send me Ko-fis or PayPals or super stickers. Thank you for your emails. Thank you for your nice comments. And just generally, thank you for all your positivity on my channel and for caring about these people we talk about. Sorry, is that my dog coming up then? Okay, right, that's it. So I've said my thank yous. Oh, hang on. What's going on here? My screen's just gone peculiar. Hang on. Get it back to normal, otherwise I'll get confused. I was just trying to get the banner off and then it all went. I must press the wrong button. So hi lovely lurkers, thank you so much for being here and watching. Hi replay crew, and all of you, don't forget to leave me your comments on what you think. And I know we've been doing quite a few videos about Madeleine because of this trial that's going on, but you know, this is an enduring case, isn't it? People are still interested in the case of Madeleine McCann, a 3-year-old girl kidnapped from her apartment, her holiday apartment, where she was left by her parents with her two-year-old siblings, left alone while they went out on a jolly up with their friends. That, I think, you know, for me will always be, you know, whatever happened to Madeleine, I don't know, but she should never have been left there alone with her siblings, and they could all have been taken, couldn't they? Anyway, can't bring back the past. That's what happened. Madeleine was the one that disappeared, and since then lots of theories about what happened to her, and then all these fake Madeleines that have come forward. And one of the interesting things in the trial of Julia, what they call the Polish fake Madeleine, is that the police, the detective inspector who spoke at the trial, said that they've had hundreds of people saying that they are Madeleine. They can't do a DNA test for everyone. So, you know, unless there's any more proof, any more concrete proof, they don't normally do a DNA test. But when it was heard that Julia was going to be arrested when she set foot in the UK, so don't forget, Julia doesn't live in the UK, she lives in Poland. And she's pretended to be 2 other missing children before. This is not the first missing child she has pretended to be. Where she'll go from here, I have no idea. Will she still claim she's Madeleine, or will she find another missing child to pretend that she is? Yeah, very strange case, isn't it? But anyway, during the trial, a lot of interesting things have come out. And it's interesting, you know, so Operation Grange, which is the police operation to find Madeleine, it has been scaled down. I mean, there's still money being allocated to it every year, but it's not that much, I suppose, now on the scale of things. But over the years, millions of pounds have been spent trying to find Madeleine, much more than are normally spent on missing children, which, you know, leads people to believe that Kate and Gerry McCann, the parents, they've always received special treatment, haven't they, of one way or another, this case. But having said that, this case is so high profile, isn't it? So I don't know. Anyway, I'm not here to comment on that today. I just want to talk about Christian Bruckner. So he emerged as a suspect, didn't he? Because he was in prison for the rape of an elderly woman. So that seems strange to me. I mean, I know that some predators, it doesn't matter the age of someone. You know, it's the power that counts of predatory behaviour and sex deviance. Doesn't matter whether it's a child or an elderly person. Sometimes elderly people are chosen for the same reason as children, because they're vulnerable. You know, these predators choose vulnerable people that are easy to abuse, don't they? So, you know, it just seems funny to me that someone like Christian Bruckner, what is his modus operandi? You know, is he interested in children, or is he interested in anyone, as long as it's sadistic and forced? You know, I just don't know. But when I was in Portugal, I did talk to people who knew Christian at the time, and none of them thought he had anything to do with it. But that means nothing, of course, because they don't know. You've got to follow the evidence. You can't just go by what people say. But it's still interesting to hear what people say. People who knew Christian, you know, they told me he was like a van lifer. You know, but you know, he didn't do anything wrong. He was just, you know, in holiday destinations, and I know because I live in one, there's a lot of transient people. I don't mean transient as in homeless. A lot of people come and go. People arrive in the places, and then, you know, maybe a couple of months later even they disappear, or a couple of years later. It's rare. There's not many people actually, because I live in Spain, for anyone who doesn't know. And I don't live in a holiday destination, but I'm not far from one, and I used to live in one. Yeah, a lot of transient people, you know, and I've taught Spanish here for years, and people come and go, come and go, come and go, of all different nationalities. And that's the other thing you always have to remember about holiday destinations. It's not only British people who come to Spain. You know, every nationality you can imagine comes to Spain. Everybody wants to come to Spain. It's a nice place to be. Sorry about that. It's a dog drinking water. Do you think you could drink any more? My God, how much did you drink? You know, so every, you know, French, German, American, Icelandic, Danish, Swedish, Polish, Romanian, Estonian, Russian, Ukrainian. I've had all those nationalities pass through my doors and more. Probably I've forgotten some that I haven't mentioned who'll be insulted. Oh, you didn't mention our, you know, all different nationalities want to come to Spain because it's an attractive place to live. But a lot of them come here and don't stay, because then they get here and they find that at the end of the day, Spain is a nice place to live, but you've got all the same problems here as you've got anywhere. You've got the same problems. You don't come to Spain and there's a magic wand and suddenly you've got no health problems, no money problems, no family relationship problems. You know, it just doesn't happen like that. It doesn't matter where you live, you've got the same problems. So it doesn't work out for some people. It can be for financial reasons, because it's hard to find a job. If you need to work, it's difficult to live in Spain because it's hard to find decent employment. If you're on a pension and that, and you're retired, it's a lovely life, because your pension will go further than it will, certainly than it would in the UK. You know, and the sun's shining most of the time, so your bills aren't as expensive, etc. So yeah, it can be a nice life, but you still have your health problems. If you've got health problems, they don't get miraculously cured when you come to Spain. So having said that, I think the health system in Spain is much better, in my experience anyway, than the British one. Certainly, I can't speak for other countries because I've only experienced the health system in Britain or Spain, and I know which one I would choose. I would choose neither, really. I don't want to go anywhere near the health system, but do you know what? If you're in that position where you need help, I think Spain would definitely be your best bet. But anyway, so yeah, so it's not a magical, wonderful life. Spain and Portugal is the same. Portugal is very similar. As I say, I've been there and I found it, there's so many similarities over there in Portugal. Any tourist destination, really, they're similar, aren't they, in certain things. So Christian B, basically, there he was in Portugal at the time when Madeleine went missing. That can't be denied. He was definitely in that area, and he was living this sort of van life. Now, supposedly, evidence has been found there as far as the German detective said, but he won't say what the evidence is. He says he hasn't got enough evidence. But I still think it's very strange to come right out and say, for a police person, to come right out and say, oh, we think this man kidnapped and murdered Madeleine and she's dead. But he won't give, but there's no evidence. Surely that prejudices any trial that might happen one day, because he's come out and said that. That, you know, as much as I say, I don't know Christian Bruckner. I'm sure, he's not a very nice person, but still, it's not right. You wouldn't want it to happen to you. Someone just saying, oh yeah, they're guilty of murder. Well, where's your evidence? Oh, I haven't got any evidence. You know, we see it every day on YouTube. We don't want to see it from a detective. It's very odd, I think. That this has happened. Hey, Julie. Yeah, paperwork in Spain. Yeah, that's the other thing that people forget about living in Spain, isn't it? And people will always say to me, and you just can't sometimes, you can't get it through to people. They'll say, why have they got all this paperwork in Spain? Don't have all this in the UK. Well, in the UK, you're a British citizen. That's why you don't have any paperwork in the UK. But when you're in Spain, you're an immigrant, you're a migrant, you call yourself an expat till it comes out your ears, but at the end of the day, you're not Spanish. So, of course, you've got paperwork if you want to live here. You know, that's what happens any country that you go to. So, and Spain loves its bureaucracy just in general. So if you're a foreigner, there's even more. And of course, some of it is not Spain's fault. It's Brexit. You know, the people say, well, why do we have to do this and why do we have to do that? Well, you voted to leave the European Union. You know, now you're being treated like any country outside the European Union. You're not in the European Union anymore. You just can't get it through to people. They, it's like even some people that live here in Spain voted for Brexit. I mean, you know, what's anyway, don't get me started on that. So, yeah, of course, if you live in a foreign country, there's always going to be a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of paperwork. And I'm interested to see now that they're saying in the UK, you know, if you want to go and live in England or in the UK, you have to be able to speak English, which is fair enough, but it just makes me laugh because do people who come to Spain learn Spanish? No. Some do, of course, some do. I'm not, obviously, I wouldn't have a job otherwise because that's what I do. I teach Spanish. But do you know how many people don't? I expect the percentage, you know, they expect people to speak English and then they complain. They're always the ones that complain the most about people in Britain not speaking English. And then they come to Spain. Have you ever done any Spanish classes? Oh, no, I'm not bothering with all that. Oh, no, it's too much effort. You know, don't you think you should learn Spanish and live in Spain? Oh, well, everybody speaks English, don't they? Gosh, you just can't get through to people sometimes. Anyway, so let's have a look at what Christian Bruckner has been up to. Oh, hang on, that's the wrong one. So he was freed a couple of weeks ago, wasn't he? I need to just turn this on. Let's have a look. So, freed Madeleine McCann suspect pleads give me back my life as he tries to confront the prosecutor. Hans Christian Walters, he is the prosecutor, has alleged he has evidence showing Christian B abducted and killed Madeleine McCann, which is something he denies. Now, I do think this is completely wrong. If you've got evidence, you know, regardless of whether, you know, Christian B is a piece of shit or if he's a brilliant guy, I don't know. But if you've got evidence, then prosecute him. Don't say you've got evidence. You're casting shade on this guy. He will always then be seen as the person who this policeman says killed Madeleine McCann without any evidence. It's wrong. It's wrong whichever way you look at it. Doesn't matter whether he's a nice person, a horrible person, or what he is. It's wrong. Hi, Finola. In my opinion. Let me know your opinion. Do you think this is what the German prosecutor... I mean, it just seems strange to me. I don't think you could do that in the UK, but I don't know. Or Spain. I don't think you can just go around saying someone killed someone when they didn't. Well, when you can't prove that they did. I mean, maybe he did. I don't know. Anyway, so we'll have a look at this video with, there's Christian there in the middle. Good old Martin Brunt and poor little Madeleine. You know, we're always looking at her face, aren't we? You know, bless her. She must be the most recognisable sort of child's face. You know, to most people, obviously our own children are most recognised than the people we know. But you talk about a stranger, you know, someone none of us know, but she's known all over the world. She must have the most familiar child's face all over the world. Let's have a look at this.
Actually, I'm not feeling free. I still have this ankle track.
Not one, but two developments in the mystery of Madeleine McCann. Scotland Yard cops, I'm reliably informed, are about to fly to Germany to meet their German counterparts who are leading the investigation. And in a dramatic twist ahead of their visit, the suspect has tried to confront the prosecutor there. Christian B, who can't be fully identified under German privacy laws, travelled 200...
Can't be fully identified. They couldn't identify him anymore. What else could they do to identify him? You know, we know he's Christian B. We know he's Christian Bruckner. They're showing him as clear as day. He's obviously came walking towards the camera there, realised someone was filming him and moved and went the other way. He can't be fully identified. How much more could they identify him?
Fully identified under German privacy laws, travelled 250 kilometres to the prosecutor's office, and he spoke to Sky News. We asked him if...
Now, if he is guilty, then maybe this will all be worth it in the end. It's like a persecution, really, isn't it? And maybe in the end it will result in a prosecution. And then, okay, then it'll all seem like it was correct. Now, just notice they didn't give him much chance to speak there. There was a... I don't know if we'll see more later in this interview. Let's see. The Martin Brunt says he is assured that the police are going over, the British police are going over there. I don't know if that's true or not.
To Germany to meet their German counterparts who are leading the investigation.
So he says the British police are going to be flying over to Germany. Is that true? Says he's got from reliable sources. Well, we know Martin Brunt is not the most reliable person. Sorry, I just wanted to find that bit where Christian was talking. Yeah, he talks for about 30 seconds and then they cut him off. But we want to hear what he's got to say, or I do anyway.
Actually, I'm not feeling free. I still have this ankle track.
I'm not feeling free. So apparently he said he's not feeling free because he has to wear a tracker for a start, which is good, I suppose. So he's been he's been released early, hasn't he, from his whatever he was convicted for, which was RAPE, I believe. So yeah, he's not a very nice person. I think he has to check in. He's not allowed to leave the country, those kind of things.
One, but two developments in the mystery of Madeleine McCann. Scotland Yard cops, I'm reliably informed, are about to fly to Germany to meet their German counterparts who are leading the investigation. And in a dramatic twist ahead of their visit, the suspect has tried to confront the prosecutor there. Christian B, who can't be fully identified under German privacy laws, travelled 250 kilometres to the prosecutor's office, and he spoke to Sky News. We asked him if, after his recent release from a rape jail sentence if he felt truly a free man.
Actually, I'm not feeling free. I still have this ankle track, and I'm followed by police around 24/7. So I'm not feeling free.
Christian B is angry that
So he's got to wear his tracker and he's followed 24/7 by police, apparently, according to him. So he doesn't feel very free, but he is free at the end of the day. He's released on license, isn't he? So he hasn't actually finished his sentence yet. That's why. So he's not free in the sense his sentence is finished and he's completely free. He's free with conditions.
he's the only suspect in the Madeleine McCann case, though he's never been arrested, questioned or charged. The prosecutor insists he has evidence that shows that Christian B abducted and murdered Madeleine.
Oh, what do you think? Don't you think it's strange? So he's not been arrested, he's not been charged, but they have declared him their prime suspect. I mean, maybe he is, maybe something will come out, but just seems odd to me.
German this time, the suspect said he wanted the prosecutor to stop the witch hunt against him and give him back his life.
Ich wollte ihn bitten, diese Hetzjagd auf mich zu beenden und mir mein Leben zurückzugeben.
The prosecutor
Oh yeah, do you know what? I still can speak German, so I think I'd be struggling to speak it, but I understood everything he said there. But there was subtitles as well. Yeah, give me my life back. That's what he's saying. Let's see that again. Yeah.
Mir mein Leben zurückzugeben.
The prosecutor said he didn't want to speak.
Auf mich zu beenden und ich wollte ihn bitten, diese Hetzjagd.
In German this time, the suspect said he wanted the prosecutor to stop the witch hunt against him and give him back his life.
Ich wollte ihn bitten, diese Hetzjagd auf mich zu beenden und mir mein Leben zurückzugeben.
The prosecutor said he didn't want to speak to him. We asked Christian B directly, did you kill Madeleine McCann? Again, he answered in German.
Meine Verteidiger haben mir geraten, zu diesem Thema nichts zu sagen und daran muss ich mich...
So my defence lawyers have told me to say nothing on the case, which I suppose, because he might say something that will prejudice himself. It's a very odd thing.
Daran muss ich mich leider halten.
His lawyer, he said, had told him not to discuss the case. It was a bizarre appearance, and he seemed completely lost. He claimed that the media and angry locals had hounded him out of the town where he's been living since his prison release. He's due back in court next month, where he faces a charge of insulting a prison warder.
Oh, insulting a prison warder. Now, so he has been... we're going to see in a minute. The things that have happened to him, it's not right because he's not been proven to have done anything. And because of what the prosecutor has said, more or less, that he is a murderer and a child abductor and child murderer, he's been hounded out of the place where he lives. He's had people phone and report him for nothing. We're going to see that in a minute. And that is wrong, isn't it? It's wrong. It is like, vigilantes, and you shouldn't be like that. We live in, you're innocent till you're proven guilty, or at least charged, for God's sake.
That may be the least of his problems.
So, what do you think about that? So he says here, the freed suspect in the Madeleine McCann case has spoken publicly for the first time since his release, but refused to discuss the mystery of the missing British toddler. And, I think that's fair enough. I think he will have been told by his lawyers, his defence lawyers, don't discuss it, won't he? In an exclusive Sky News interview, he hit out after trying to confront the prosecutor who's accused him of abducting and murdering Madeleine. Christian B, who cannot be fully identified, Everybody knows who he is. It's ridiculous that. He's been fully identified. Of course he has. Under German privacy laws, calling him Christian B will not mean people don't know who he is. He travelled more than 100 miles from a secret address to prosecutor Hans Christian Walter's office, but was stopped from going in. He said, "I want them to stop this witch hunt against me and give me back my life. I am not feeling free. I have this ankle tag. I'm followed around by police 24/7. I'm not feeling free." And there he is, I think, outside the office of the prosecutor. Mr. Walters has stated publicly he has evidence, which he has not revealed, to show Christian B abducted and killed Madeleine, who vanished from her bed during a Portuguese holiday in 2007. But he says he doesn't have enough evidence to arrest or charge him. The suspect, who was released from a rape sentence 2 weeks ago, said, "The prosecutor refused to meet me, but I told his representative I wanted his help to get my life back. I'm being hounded by the media and it's his fault. I want him to take responsibility. I was told there was nothing they could do to help. They said I had been convicted and released and I wasn't their responsibility." As he spoke, the electronic tag that has monitored his movement since his release was clearly visible above his right ankle. He has also had to surrender his passport and report regularly to probation staff. He has not been arrested, charged, or even questioned by German authorities about the Madeleine case. He's also refused to talk to Scotland Yard and Portuguese police, who are also involved in the investigation. Asked directly if he had abducted and killed Madeleine McCann, he said, "My defence lawyers have told me to say nothing on this topic, and unfortunately I have to abide by that." Christian, 49, was driven from jail by his lawyer, Frederick Fulcher, on the 17th of September, and since then he has lived in local authority accommodation in the town of Neumünster, north of Hamburg. Journalists quickly tracked him down and exposed his new address, prompting anger in the community from people worried about his convictions for child sex crimes. Yeah, apparently the first thing he did when he came out was he went for a McDonald's. And so they took a picture of him having his McDonald's. I mean, you know, it's honestly, I don't know what to say really, because obviously he's not a nice person. You think, do you really care about his privacy being interrupted? But then there's another part of me that thinks it's just not right to say that someone's guilty of something. To literally, especially a prosecutor, he's not law enforcement, is he? But he's sort of, a reputable. It's not a podcast that he's doing. He's going out there. He's supposed to be more professional. Just doesn't seem right somehow to accuse someone of something before they're even charged. I mean, he hasn't even been charged. So this apparently was the day of his release. And local councillor Karin Munt of the hard-right populist movement, Heimat Neumünster, Homeland Neumünster, Munster, took to Facebook to warn locals to be vigilant, not go out alone, and make sure their children and elderly were safe. Well, do you know what? I think that's ridiculous. I really do think that's ridiculous, because this guy, as much as what he might have done, he's wearing a tracker for a start. He's probably the most well-known person in that town. Is he really going to go out and commit more crimes knowing that everybody's watching his every move? Is he really? It's not likely, is it? I mean, if he does go on to commit more crimes further down the line, it'll be after he's had his tracker taken off, I'm sure. I mean, he's not going to do it at the moment because he knows everybody's watching him. She also called for a public protest under the slogan, Christian B, out of Newminster. Tougher measures against child abusers and rapists to protect all citizens. God, this reminds me, they're probably, God, I just don't know what, I mean, he's got to live somewhere. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want him living around the corner from me, especially if I had young children. No, but this is the problem, isn't it? Nobody would want Christian living near to them. But especially now because, this guy's come out and said that he did that, but he has no proof that he did it. Or he says he's got proof, but it's not enough. I don't know. Very difficult to judge this one for me. Yeah, he's not a good person. So they want him out of Newminster, but why is it? I don't know why he's in Newminster, whether he's got a connection there or whatever. But if they move him from there to another place, they're going to get the same thing there, surely, because nobody's going to want Christian B living around the corner from them now after it's been announced by this prosecutor that he's a child abductor and killer. So Germany operates draconian privacy laws whereby even the media must get the consent of someone they photograph or disguise their features. Well, they're not doing that, are they? No, they're not disguising his features or getting his consent, are they? So I think this was when he was released from jail. Oh, everyone trying to get a picture of him, you see, because it is one of the still. So he's serving a 7-year sentence. Well, I just don't know. Literally don't know. Let me know what you all think. And that it's difficult, isn't it? Because just because somebody does one thing, which is heinous, to RAPE the elderly woman is bad enough. But then does that mean they're guilty of everything? Should they be held guilty of everything that happens? This is my problem with it, You can't blame them for everything, can you? Surely, I don't know. So the group even decided to publish photos of Christian B, arguing that the danger he presents meant he was a public person of interest, and they had to make sure that elderly people were able to recognise him. 2 separate chat groups were set up, one dedicated to campaigning for Christian B to be booted out of Newminster, and the other to discuss alleged sightings of him. Now, then we get the rumour mill starting and the conspiracy theories and the lies and, things that have no basis in truth. Some claimed that Christian B had turned up near schools and that the police were called around, although other people said they worked at those schools and no police had been there. Well, I'll tell you what, if Christian B has been hanging around schools, he must be the biggest idiot ever. There you are. You've got a tag on you. You're probably the most, famous suspect in the world at the moment. And you're going to be hanging around schools. You're just not going to do it. I don't believe that. I think what will happen is some sort of hysteria that anyone who looks anything like Christian B, people will be saying, oh God, Christian B's at the school. It's just like there'll be a mass hysteria. And I don't think only Christian will suffer from that. Anyone who looks like him, who's there at the school, or, maybe one of the fathers or whatever, looks a bit like Christian B, people will be going up to him with pitchforks and, saying, oh, get away from our children's school, etc. But what the answer is, I don't know. I just don't know. You cannot, there will be, in that town, you can imagine, there will be a total hysteria. Throughout all this, a woman at Domino's Pizza claimed he had turned up in a false beard. Yet just days later, her colleague said she had seen the pictures and she was unsure that it was Christian B. If you're going to get that, oh, that's Christian B in a beard or a wig, or he's got a hoodie on, or he's dressed as a woman. I'm surprised they haven't had that yet. Throughout all this, a source close to Christian B's defence claimed he had not been out at all, apart from to sort out his phone and also once for a steak. On Wednesday, one chat even discussed gathering at the town hall in the evening, and police vans then turned up to try and prevent this. The language of the chat became ever bolder, with people openly posting addresses that they were convinced he was living at. I mean, someone's going to get hurt, aren't they? It's people giving out addresses, which maybe he's living at, or maybe somebody else completely innocent is living at. At one point, all people with English-sounding surnames were ejected from the group as people suspected they were journalists. Sorry. I know it's not funny, but do you know what? This world is crazy, isn't it? Where's my crazy world thing? Oh, God, people are crazy, aren't they? So if you fancy joining this group, and you've got an English surname, you best, get an alias with a German surname, because they'll throw you out. Just crazy. So, of course, they went back, didn't they, to Praia da Luz. They looked around that dam where he was supposed to. They say here they drew a blank, but I thought they did recover some bits of evidence, but they've never really released what they were. Anyway, police moved Christian B out of New Monster. Right, they've taken him out now. Reports say he's been spotted at a hotel in an unnamed town. Well, he's got to live somewhere. He has got to live somewhere. And that has probably been at the expense of the German taxpayer. Because, it's not that I support him or anything, but he has got to live somewhere. So, they're going to give him somewhere to live, and it probably end up costing a fortune, put him in a hotel. In a recent interview with Germany's Stern magazine, Christian B's main lawyer, Dr. Fulcher, said, the Braunschweig Public Prosecutor's Office has fueled this media campaign of prejudgment. Yeah, and then, of course, if it ever does come to a trial, there's going to be a problem with that trial, isn't it? It can't be a fair trial. How can it be a fair trial when he's been, virtually the prosecutor has said openly he's guilty? So how's that going to end up being a fair trial? So that could, if a trial does finally happen, that trial is in jeopardy. So it has told the public it's certain it has the right person without preventing sufficient evidence or even allowing my client to inspect the files. I find this highly questionable from a constitutional point of view. In my opinion, the Braunschweig Public Prosecutor's Office has made rehabilitation impossible. Prosecutor Mr. Walters told Sky News he'd been tipped off about the suspect's visit to his office in Braunschweig near Hanover and refused to speak to him. And Christian B denies any involvement in Madeleine's disappearance. So there you go. Should we feel sorry for Christian a little bit because, he hasn't been charged or questioned? What is the evidence? If this guy's got evidence, he needs to tell us what the evidence is, don't you think? Anyway, I'm sure you'll let me know what you think. Gosh, that was my dog there taking the curtain with her. So I don't know what the McCanns themselves think of all this. They're going through it at the moment. They're probably just tied up with this trial of Julia Wendelt and Karen Sprague. There'll be more on that later today, I suppose. Let's have a look if anything's coming out yet. Yeah, just so there was just what I really said in the video earlier. Let's just have a look at this. So this is the Daily Mirror. This was their updates yesterday. And the DCI Cranwell said, right, let's see, I'll share it with you so you can see it. So DNA was taken when she was arrested. And DCI Cranwell told the court, this was yesterday in court, Operation Grange now operates part-time. He said he and a deputy work 1 day a week and a detective works 2 days a week. The officer told the jurors he made the decision to get DNA sample from Wendelt upon her arrest after her harassment of the McCanns worsened. So she began contacting her brother and sister, Sean and Amelie. My assessment was she had reached the threshold for harassment, and the decision to obtain DNA weighed heavily on my mind. My concerns were that DNA would be confirmed of not being Madeleine, and Julia would suggest we tampered with the sample. There is a possibility she will never accept she's not Madeleine. That's what I was saying in the earlier video. I really feel that if Madeleine McCann walked through the door tomorrow, Julia will never accept that she's not Madeleine, because she's that much, she's Madeleine in her head, and she's been encouraged by unscrupulous podcasters, by Karen Sprague, by all sorts of people. She's been used, really, and made her paranoia, her delusion has been made worse by other people, unscrupulous people. So he said, at that point, I believed it was the right thing to do to get the results to prove she was not Madeleine, and inform her in the hope it would stop her behaviour towards the McCann family. I was sceptical and nervous. A comparison took place, and it conclusively proved Julia Wendelt is not Madeleine McCann. So I think we all have to take that on board. And 12 other people have claimed to be Madeleine. He said that Operation Grange has received over 22,000 emails and currently has 42,000 documents on the systems, and 12 people have contacted police claiming or believing they are Madeleine, and he said all of them were ruled out after comparing photographs or other details. So apparently, according to him, he said he told Julia about the DNA test results during a prison visit in April. And he said, I told her a sample was taken while you were in custody in February. Your sample was submitted to the library and a profile was established. This has now been compared to the profile of Madeleine McCann. You are not Madeleine McCann. And I asked her if she now agreed she's not Madeleine. Her response was, do you have paperwork? She also commented on the fact an expert compared her profile with DNA in the Portuguese file and contained 3 potential persons. I told her the result I rely on is the one I was there to discuss. And she asked me, do you really want to find Madeleine? And me and my colleague replied, yes. So we'll see later what happens today. I don't think it's... I don't know if there's anything yet coming up. Normally, let's see. Can't see anything started now, but maybe I just can't find it, but I will find it later. Yeah. Now, if you have done a playlist of Madeleine McCann's stalking trial, I think it's linked below this video, or it will be. I might not have linked it yet. If you want to watch the trial so far, we've had evidence from Kate, from Jerry, from Amelie, from Sean, from the police, from the great aunts, friends of the family, and now it's the police giving evidence. Even the vicar gave evidence. And this case, I don't know how long it's expected to last, but I do feel that it's probably going to end in prison time for Julia and Karen. And so it should. So it should. Okay. So I just wanted to let you know, just wanted to have a look, it made me think of Christian B and what do we think about him? I mean, is it possibly true that he did abduct Madeleine and kill her? But what, these prosecutors, if that's what they really believe, they need to arrest him and charge him. It really is not fair. For to say that he is without any evidence, without charging him. It really isn't fair to do that, whoever he is or whatever he's done. None of us would like that, would like to be accused of something, publicly by a public prosecutor without any evidence, would we? None of us would like that. So, okay, thank you for watching. I'll be back really soon with the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Oh, but please don't forget to like and subscribe. So those are free ways you can support my channel. And also, if you want to hear the updates from the trial or Christian B or any other case that I'm talking about, please press the notification bell. Thank you. And most of all, thank you for caring about Madeleine. Bye.